In this video, we'll try to understand what is explicit type conversion or explicit type casting. So in the previous video, we understood how implicit type conversion happens or what are the scenarios where your Java compiler by default do it for you. But explicit type conversion means the programmer has to explicitly convert the type. So now we need to understand what are the scenarios where we can perform this explicit type conversion. So the explicit type conversion, also called as narrowing. So we'll understand why it is called narrowing. So let us jump into IntelliJ IDEA to understand this programmatically.
Hey, thanks for watching our content so far. If you're new to Training Monk, we're the fastest growing technology training company and create content to help freshers like you to master the disruptive technologies like full stack development, AML, cloud, DevOps, etc. If you like the content so far, please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon not to miss any new content from us. Like and share this video with all your friends. Let's build your career and the community together.
Like implicit type conversion, there are two situations where explicit type conversion will be performed. So when I say explicit type conversion, the programmer has to explicitly convert the type. And this is very dangerous activity and a programmer needs to be very cautious why he is doing explicit type conversion. So we'll understand what are the problems that you face when you are doing this narrowing or explicit type conversion. So now to understand this, so let me create a new Java class, right click on my source folder, create a new Java class, and then I call this as explicit type conversion. So now here I'm taking my main method and so let me write. So in what are the situations that we get explicit type conversion? So the first and foremost is when you're doing a real to integer, it is by default an explicit type conversion. Example, suppose you're converting a float to any one of byte, short, in, long. So then this is called explicit type conversion irrespective of the data. Then when you say double is can be explicitly converted to byte, short, int, long. Okay. So now let us understand with an example. Suppose I have a float price and then I have price is equals to 100.23f. Okay. So now I have a byte price byte. Okay, I'm now creating a byte variable just to give it as price byte. And now I'll say price byte is equals to price. Okay, now look at this 100.23 is basically a float value. Now I want to convert that into an integer. Means I want to eliminate this 0.23 which is a decimal. I want to store this 100 within byte. Now if you look at even 100 is within the range of byte, your compiler is giving an error. Let us understand what is the reason. Now it is saying, hey, the required type is byte, but what you provided is float, right? So now what basically this will do is IDs are very intelligent, right? Now what it is saying, it is also giving you a suggestion. Hey, you can cast this expression to byte. What does it mean? Is it is giving me a suggestion to cast this to a byte. Means it is asking me to cast to byte. How I can do that? The moment you select this, now you see it by default converted your price, which is into float, to this byte. As I told you in the previous video, that if you want to do a type conversion, you have to put the target type within the parenthesis. So that is where this is now converted. Now let me try to print. Now the error is gone. So now let me try to print the price by the value and then I will save this and then I'll go to the current file and then I can run this just to see what is the output. Now you can see that what I got is 100. Means this 100.23, the 23 is now removed and then I put it 100. This is working absolutely fine. But where the problem comes is, let me change this 100 to 130. Okay, now you see that the price value is now 130. Okay, now I'm now converting this 130.23 into byte. Okay, or let us try to do that with two different examples so that you'll understand. So what I do now here is I will reassign the value to 130.23f. Okay, now I want to do price byte equals of byte, right? And then price. This is what if you want to do explicitly, you want to convert. Now let me print it again. Okay. So now what are the changes I have done? I changed the price to 130.23 and then I'm converting that into byte. You see there is no compilation error now. Now programming is working fine. But what is the problem? The problem here is 130 will not fit within the range of byte. You know what is the range of byte? Minus 128 to plus 127 only. But 130 is not within the range of byte, but forcefully you are doing that to convert that into byte. Now what actually happened in this scenario? So your Java will try to do a forceful conversion. Means what, a 4 bytes of data, it will try to fit into within 1 byte of memory. Then it will do a bit shift operation to make it very simple. So by default, it will eliminate some of the bits to fit within the 1 byte of memory. So that's where we'll do some data, we will have some data loss. Now let us try to see what is the value that we get. Do we get 130? Definitely no. Why? Because byte always stores minus 128 to plus 127 only. 130 is not within the range. Here I'm not getting the compilation error. Let us see what actually happens. So let me save the file and let me run this. So when I run this, you can see now what I got is minus 126. If you can look at that, it is going to be data loss. It is going to be a data breach, right? So the 130 value is now, if you're converting forcefully into a byte, it now by default become minus 126. That's why it is called as widening. The 4 bytes of memory or higher memory data, you're widening into lower memory. That's where you have a data loss. So as a programmer, you should be very careful when you're doing explicit type conversion. And mistakenly, if you have done this, it is going to be a great trouble in real time. So that's why you should be so conscious when you need explicit type conversion. You should be so careful of converting this data. Okay, so now this is how basically you do the explicit type conversion, and then whenever the data is required, in the first scenario you don't find any problem because the data is fit within the price, so you don't have any problem in this. But whenever you have a bigger number, you always need to be cautious in converting that kind of data. So what is the second scenario that you can do in explicit type conversion is, the second scenario is when you are converting a higher memory data to lower memory data. So this what is again the same story. Suppose I have like age. Okay, now I'm saying age is equals to 100, right? Or I've taken higher memory data, right? So let me take int age. Okay, now age is equal to some 130, right? And then now here I have byte age byte. I'll just read this, and then here also I'll just change this age byte. And now I want to convert this age by is equal to age, you're going to get an error. Why? Because age is basically a 4 bytes of data and you have only 1 byte of memory. So what you have to do? You have to convert that into byte and then let me print my age byte. So here also what you do? You will get your data loss. So when you run this, you're going to get again minus 126 because the value is not 130, right? Suppose what happens if I give a huge value and then I'll save it, right? Okay, I will just put within the int range and let me run this. So when I run this, you see it is now going to give some value within the range of minus 128 to plus 127. So the entire 4 bytes of data shrink into 1 byte and ultimately give you some value after the bit operation, that is going to be minus 13. So that's why it is very careful when you're doing an explicit type conversion. If it is required, then only you have to do it. So this way you have to convert one type of data into